Hello and welcome to our tech talk about how to get our course, so our video lessons and any resources there. The course, Canva templates and Canva all playing nicely together so we can do the lessons. We obviously need to have access to the course and to Canva at the same time because you'll be working along in Canva as you watch the videos. We also need to get the templates which are provided in the course over to Canva, and I'm going to show you how to do that too. First, we're going to have a quick look at a few terms that may come up during this video or in the course. We can just think of a platform as a kind of a website where generally we need to have an account and log in to access whatever lives there. When I talk about a platform, it's most likely going to be about Canva, which is a design platform, an online design platform, or Kajabi, which is where I have hosted my Kids Get Creative with Canva course. A browser is how we access the internet. Common browsers are Google Chrome, Safari, Firefox, or Microsoft Edge. So they're all familiar names, and you will undoubtedly be using a browser every day in your computer travels, but not everybody knows what we're talking about when we talk about browser and browser window. An app is a program that you install on your own device. We're used to having apps on the phone or on the iPad. You can also get some apps for desktop and laptop computers. We can use Canva either through a browser, logging in through, for example, Chrome, or using a Canva app, which is installed on our computer or device. In the case of Canva, they both work really well. But when it comes to the course can be accessed through a browser, going to allagesacademy.com, clicking on My Library up in the navigation bar and logging into your account. So you're accessing the course through a browser. You can also access the course through an app. I personally think the Kajabi app is pretty rubbish. It's terrible design and it's not easy to get around through the course. So I recommend that you stay using a browser, whether you're using a desktop, laptop, iPad, or even a phone to get into the course materials, go in through a browser. This image here is about exactly that. So we have the course on the left, which tick for a browser and a big no for the app, and Canva on the right, and both of them are fine. You can use either one. The other consideration we have is which device to use. This is a list of devices, and the only thing that has a red mark next to it is using Canva on a phone. You can use Canva on a phone. There is both an app and you can get in through a browser as well on a phone. But both of those will look different to all of the other devices. The interface has to change because there's a lot less space on a phone. When you get to know Canva a bit better and you're familiar with what you're trying to do, then the app on the phone is absolutely fine. But for learning, I recommend using anything from the iPad going up because you can actually see how everything is laid out properly. These are a couple of examples of combinations you may use. You might have a desktop computer and an iPad. Both of those are fine for either one. So you just choose whichever one you'd prefer to be working in Canva on and put the course on the other one. In the middle, though, we have a laptop and a phone. So with this one, the laptop is fine for either, but the phone is not good for Canva. So in this case, I would recommend using the phone to look at the course videos and work on the laptop to do your Canva work. On the right-hand side, there is just one desktop computer, but most of the time, these screens are going to be big enough for us to have both things open at once. You can have two Chrome windows open, so two browser windows open, and have them positioned next to each other, the course on one and Canva in the other, and just work side by side. That's absolutely fine. Here are some extra details that might help you decide if you're still unsure about which device to use. I'll let you read through those, and this will also be downloadable as a PDF. One thing that I do want to say is that if you're working on a computer, generally you're going to be using a mouse, and I highly, highly recommend using a mouse on a laptop as well if you're using it for Canva. I don't like using the trackpad. So the trackpad is here just below the keys when you're working on a laptop. That action of using your fingers and your wrist to do a lot of work in Canva is not good for your body, and it's also much more difficult to get things done. Logging into your course and into Canva. The course, as I've said, I really only recommend going through a browser, so you will go to allagesacademy.com. In the navigation bar along the top of the home page, or any page, out of that menu you will see My Library. You can click on that and that will take you to the login. Sign into your account, open the course, choose the lesson, and that's also where you can access your Canva template. If you're working along as I'm speaking, just hold on because we have a little bit more about Canva templates in a second. Canva, you can sign into your account either through canva.com in a browser or using an app. To open the Canva template and get it onto the device that you're using for Canva, because remember we have two devices happening at the same time most often, one where we're watching the course and the other one that we're working in Canva. One great thing about Canva is that you can have the same account open on multiple devices, which means we can have our Canva open on that same device that we have our course. We click on the link, it opens up into Canva on that device. Because you have that same account, that same Canva account open on your other device as well, give it a minute and pretty soon that template will show up in your home page on the other device. And you can click on it there and start working. The other way to access your templates from the course, and you can see over on the right, I've given you a screenshot. This is what it looks like underneath your video lesson. So in the course website, when you go to a lesson, you have the video at the top, and directly underneath that, you'll see this. This is for the birds in a tree lesson for Kids Get Creative with Canva. You have a little explanation of what's covered in the lesson, and you have a link. Underneath that, though, is a QR code. If you're working in Canva on an iPad, you can open your camera app, scan the QR code. When the link shows up in the camera app, you can tap on that, and that will open into Canva on your device. This might sound a little bit confusing, or if the whole thing seems a bit overwhelming because you're not used to juggling different devices to do one task. It will get much easier and it will make much more sense once you get going. A couple of possible troubleshooting issues. If you lose your course password, use the Forgot Password link to create a new one. If you have any difficulties accessing the course or the resources, you're very welcome to email me and I will get back to you as soon as possible. In both of those cases, though, you will need access to the email account you used to sign up for the course. The template opens in the wrong Canva account. This may happen if you have more than one Canva account. And I do recommend that if you already have a Canva account, that you create a separate one for you and the kids to use for these course projects. If you've used Canva for any period of time, you know how easy it is for things to go crazy with lots and lots of different files. So by keeping all of the projects from the course, plus any other things that are created by you or the kids inspired by the course, it's nice to keep that separate to anything else that you're working on in your own account. There are two ways that you can remedy the templates opening in the wrong account. The first option is to log out of the account that you don't want to be using for the course. The second option is the fact that you can actually have separate Canva accounts active on one device if they're logged in on different browsers. So On my desktop, for example, I might sign into my first account on Safari and my second Canva account on Chrome. Whichever Canva account I want those projects to be opened in when I open the template, I make sure that I also log into the course on that same browser. If you still feel a bit confused about how the whole thing works, go back over the notes, give it a go, because the best way to learn something is to actually do it. Even when it doesn't seem to make sense, by looking at it in theory, actually doing it is going to be really helpful. You are also very welcome to email me, tell me where you're at, tell me what's behaving differently to what you expect it to, if there's been some sort of problem that you're coming up against, and we'll get it sorted out. Yes, tech can seem tricky, and some of it really is, but this is pretty good. The whole thing about balancing and learning how the different devices can work together is going to be revolutionary. For sanity and for ease, I recommend that we all just learn the things that we need to know when it comes to tech. And if something else looks interesting, give it a go. Stop bad talking yourself for not knowing everything. Find resources, either people or websites, that are going to be helpful when you need them. And enjoy this new and very quickly evolving digital world that we're in right now. I really hope you enjoy the course. It's so important to learn things properly from the beginning. These foundational skills that we're covering make it so much easier to grasp more complex things when we get to those stages. Enjoy creating.